You know, for the past 2 weeks, we have heard everything under the sun from every journalist on the internet. Xbox is going to close down all their studios. Massive layoffs. The industry's never going to recover. Xbox is dead come Monday, Bloody Monday. Well, it turns out there were a lot of layoffs, and that is incredibly bad. Absolutely, we're going to talk about that today. But it also looks like a lot of things that people were predicting didn't actually happen at all. And I think the crazier part is maybe this was almost even necessary or needed with what Xbox has been doing. Because clearly, after what we read today and find out what Asha Sharma has in fact divulged, it looks like Xbox was not going the right direction for a lot of people, not only internally, but also just game-wise. And that is actually insane. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today is literally the day after the insane Xbox layoffs that we are all hearing for the past 2 weeks. And it turns out it's going to be bad. About 3,200 people are going to be let go over this course of the year. In fact, yesterday, it was 1,600 people that just got the axe all over Xbox. And I think right now in this economy, in this industry where every other major developer, studio, and publisher is laying people off, this is not going to be a good sign for gaming at all, especially with what's been happening. Massive overinflated budgets, people just being hired on the sake of being hired, and saying really ridiculous things all over social media, alienating entire user bases and even gamers from purchasing their products, and worst of all, overcharging them and removing any sort of ownership whatsoever. So in my opinion, gaming is honestly in the most insane state I've ever seen. In 2026, we're getting amazing games even right now, but at the same time, the industry itself is collapsing harder than anything I've ever actually seen. But the thing is, Asha Sharma even went on Twitter the other day and left a post, literally posting her entire email sent to all of Xbox staff. No fluff, no garbage, just straight up telling you exactly what it is. Now, we're going to go over certain parts of it because a lot of it is just talking about the brand in general, but I really want to show you guys what I think is going to be the most pivotal aspects of what Xbox is doing and where things can go from here. It looks like Asha Sharma might be exactly what Xbox needs. With Asha on Twitter posting and saying, "This is an important email I sent today to all employees at Xbox. Team, we are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 2027. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today, and in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it's not possible to make all necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale." Right off the bat, we're seeing something actually insane. 3,200 people throughout this fiscal year is a massive amount of employees being cut and let go. But I think the crazier part's going to be what you hear is going to be happening later on in this space as well, and who has been getting the axe. You see, we're watching as every other studio inside of Xbox is losing a huge amount of its employees, whether the developers, marketing, management, sales, or even coders, and everything is getting hit across the board. With the Doom Dominion posting this: id Software layoffs and organizational changes. id Software will remain open despite the Xbox layoffs, sales, and closures. 95 staff laid off at id Software. Xbox wants Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein games more often. More layoffs could come from a second wave of layoffs coming as part of today's challenges. No organizational changes within id, but rumors suggest less autonomy. Source: Jason Schreier and JG93. And even with that tweet alone and seeing that no company or developer or studio is even safe from Xbox, it really goes to show exactly what in fact Asha Sharma is doing. Not a single studio is in fact being closed or shuttered. They're all still open and active, even though they're dealing with massive layoffs. The thing is, the business of Xbox has a lot of work to do, and things may still be rough for a couple more months, maybe even years. With Asha saying this, our business today is not healthy. We are operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Gen 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. As that happened, our core business weakened and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. And now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in history. We must reset Xbox. This right here is honestly why I think a lot of people truly like what Asha Sharma is doing. Direct, open communication about what is happening into the business. Being 3 to 10 times lower on actual comparable platform and margins compared to everybody else is insane. That means their only way of solving the problem wasn't to go ahead and make better games or go around and do better by the developers. Their only way of solving the problem in Microsoft for those past generations was to just dump money onto it. Keep pouring money onto the fire, and hopefully it'll snuff out whatever is there and we can keep building upon what we already have. Even though Game Pass made value, even though going multi-platform made value, it didn't grow the business the way they wanted. And this is where I'm going to get kind of scared. Asha Sharma is all about making that bank, and so is Satya Nadella. These boys want to make all the money they can so they can keep dumping all of that money more into AI as well, because clearly Satya still has that beat in his. But let's be real, it's not just all about AI and what Satya Nadella wants to do. It's also the fact that Xbox has dealt with, probably in my opinion, one of the worst decisions they've ever actually made when Don Matrick was at the helm. I think Phil Spencer was absolutely right when he said they lost the worst generation to in fact lose when everybody was building the digital library. And now, since everybody built it on PlayStation, they decided to go ahead and remove all the physical discs from you guys as well, betting that you weren't gonna leave. And this is what I think Xbox is trying to contend with, trying to make this brand profitable, trying to make the right moves, and also trying to provide a cheap, affordable option for gaming, even though more than likely the next generation console is going to be $1,200. You can pretty much bet your sweet bippy on it. But things are going to get even crazier with what Asha in fact says next. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP catalog and a runway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to complete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. In France, Arcane's management is beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. We are also making reductions across other units and in some cases shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first-party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me. These two studios have increasingly become platforms and are our largest by monthly active players. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. Right off the bat, that is huge news. You see, everybody was betting that Xbox today would be shutting down practically all of their studios or a majority of them. What do we get instead? All these studios are now being able to go independent, be launched with their own IP, get a free ticket ride to finish their games and even launch them, and then go and do whatever they want. Vaya con Dios, mi amigo. Literally, that's what they're doing. We're not even doing the Vince McMahon, best of luck on all your future endeavors kind of a deal. They're sending them off with an actual golden parachute to to finish the game, keep their own intellectual property, and do whatever they want. Literally insane. Everybody was betting this was going to be the worst possible thing Xbox could do. Hell, PlayStation was betting this was going to be even worse than what they did 5 days ago. And yet, not a peep. Still, not a word. Everybody was thinking this was going to be a massacre of massive proportions. And I'll tell you what, 3,000 employees is not anything to scoff at. But I think the big turnaround in this is exactly the fact that Xbox knew the right possible play. It's almost like they've completely avoided the rake altogether and handed it to PlayStation finally. It's actually kind of wild how Asha was able to pull this off, because you can bet that if the previous administration was inside of Xbox right now, like we saw last time, they would have shut all them bitches down. Clearly, what Xbox is doing is vastly different than what they've done in the past. And when you see what was going on previously, it'll kind of put things into perspective. With Asha Sharma's post continuing saying this: "We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of this generation, even as our player base and playtime have declined. That complexity has slowed down decisions, blurred accountability, and made it harder to deliver for players. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. We will reduce management layers to no more than 5, and where possible, 3. We will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in their work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend." I didn't stutter when I said that. 14 layers of management. Not 1, not 3, not 5, not 10, 14 layers of decision making had to go through every single line of Xbox to get anything even close to being done. No wonder every time Xbox said one thing, they meant another. No wonder every time it was always some convoluted messaging. No wonder everybody was trying to figure out what the hell Microsoft was doing with this company, or even what Xbox was doing. 14 layers of management with complete lack of oversight or any accountability whatsoever is actually insane to me. There was like a clip from Laura Fryer's video, I think, that I watched recently, where Double Fine literally admitted, how do we pitch the one game that is completely unpitchable to see if Microsoft will approve it? And they did!
You know, he's just like, what's the most unpitchable idea that I could present to Microsoft, who's stuck with us, and see if they approve it? And it did, and so we're just like, okay.
This has got to be the most insane thing. They increased their entire workforce by 40%, even though everything was going the opposite direction. Again, Microsoft's entire approach to this was simply to dump money onto the problem, not to fix the actual issue, which is just making good games and having people enjoy the product and spending less over time rather than trying to go out and make another AAA $80 bajillion budget banger that we always tend to see for some reason. And let's also talk about like focusing more on Doom, Quake, Elder Scrolls, and even Fallout. The fact that Bethesda has done practically nothing for these past 6 years, or even longer. We only saw the title card for Elder Scrolls 6 and nothing in between. We got Starfield, but that sumbitch took 2 years to actually get fixed and be put out properly for users, while Todd Howard's like, I guess you gotta upgrade your PCs, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you just can't handle all the great sandwiches we got in our game. And to let Asha Sharma simply just walk out and say, you know what? We're not going to close these studios down. We're going to spin them off instead. That way they can stay independent. Literally giving everybody the pass online to say, you know what? Could have been worse. Hazardor Gaming on Twitter even said this: if only Bluepoint had the same luxury of going independent and not shutting down. And even Destin on Twitter also said this. Might post another YouTube video today. Let me ask my manager, who will ask the senior manager, who needs to ask the executive, who will clear it with the senior executive, who will ask the director of production, who needs approval from the head of content, who will loop in strategy, who will check in with brand, who will ask legal, who will ask finance, who will escalate to the steering committee, who will table it to Q4, where it'll be revisited by the content task force. And you know what? As someone like myself who has worked inside of the 9-to-5 hellhole known as the cubicle space, that kind of tweet that Destin just made is pretty much exactly how things go. Looping everybody in for emails. Everybody's got to have an opinion. Everybody's got to have some sort of like decision-making process. Yet for some reason, now when they want to cut all that away and go right to the heart of the core, we could actually see the one thing we've been wanting Xbox to make for the past 6 years. Video games. For the first time, we are establishing a chief operating officer with end-to-end P&L responsibility across content, hardware, platform, and services. Helen Chang has been promoted to this role and will report directly to me. Over nearly 2 decades at Xbox, Helen has helped build some of our most important businesses, from Xbox Live to leading Mojang and the Minecraft franchise. She will bring out our businesses together under one operating model, making sure we have clear investment decisions, learn from our successes and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. Okay, we need to stop right here. How is it that a Microsoft company like Xbox hasn't had a single chief operating officer the entire time? These boys spent $70 billion on Activision and not a single COO was talking about profit and loss or finding out where the brand was going or what the company was doing with all the money they were spending. Oh, brother, no wonder every game that came out that was approved was just approved with a blank check. No wonder spending was out of control. 14 layers of management, not a single COO in sight, nobody looking at P&L reports, and the whole thing just collapsing all around them as they just kept signing out checks, thinking that they were going to throw shit at the wall to finally make something stick. Oh my God, bro. Literally every developer that's been at Xbox that has not put out a single game in multiple years has been doing the one thing everybody's been calling them out for. Literally taking advantage of that blank check ride. Actually insane. The fact that Asha Sharma was able to get everybody out of that studio and getting those studios out from under her, who are basically bleeding them dry, really goes to show that whatever the fuck was going on, I need to read a book about it. I need to tell all be all about that, baby. Get on Oprah, Philly Spence, and I want to know everything that happened behind those backroom deals and conversations, because clearly this thing was an absolute shit show from the fucking start. And what's even crazier, in my opinion, is look at the fact that this tweet by Asha Sharma has over 10.5 million views at the time of recording. And you would think the ratio would be bad, right? Actually, no. People, in fact, like the tweet. Asha Sharma has been going around and just being honest with everybody. Hey, shit sucks right now. Hey, we overspent. Hey, we overhired. We're not going to shut anybody down, though. They're going to keep their IPs. We're going to make better games. Ta-da, there it is. Sorry to say it. People got to get let go, but that's how we got to run the business. Literally for 2 weeks, we've been watching as every journalist on the internet has been saying it's going to be terrible. Studios are going to be closed. The entire world's going to fall apart. Xbox is going to die. And what do we see? Total mismanagement across the board from the previous administration. Massive amounts of overspending from the previous admin as well. And all the decisions being run through 14 layers of decision making when it could have been down to 3 or maybe even 5 at the most. Nothing more than massive corporate overbloat literally shoved into Xbox, removing it from the one thing that made it great in the first place. Proper communication with gamers. And it looks like Asha has that in spades. Again, layoffs absolutely suck, and it's not good that Xbox is doing this. But when I look and see what's actually happening, when you see how the studios were totally mismanaged, when they were handing out blank checks, when they didn't have a COO watching any of the profit and loss reports, when studios were literally pitching the worst ideas possible, and Xbox was signing that off like, yep, that's good, no worries there, we'll be all right. clearly you can tell this brand was being mismanaged, had little accountability overall, and it was completely in an actual dumpster fire ever since that Don Matrick moment. I'm actually completely shocked that this kind of thing went out. I'm even more shocked that the internet is even being sympathetic towards Xbox as well, and especially towards the people that are losing their jobs too. But the thing is, maybe now we can actually get back to what's made Xbox great in the first place. Proper good IPs. IPs that should have been launched this entire generation on Xbox, not sitting on their hands with Fallout 76 or even Elder Scrolls Online with Bethesda, or Halo Studios being so bad they had to be rebranded from 343 to Halo Studios to do the Halo Campaign Evolved game, which in my opinion should absolutely be fucking canceled. And if anybody should get layoffs, it's practically everybody at Halo Studios after what they did to Halo Infinite and that brand in general. But the thing is, we'll see what happens in the future, not only because of the RAM crisis facing the Xbox and Microsoft right now, due to Satya's neglect, by the way, being involved in that directly, but also the fact that next gen could be impacted by going all digital, and hopefully they don't make the same mistakes that PlayStation does. Because clearly, this brand needs a reset. And I'm wondering if maybe Asha Sharma is the right one to do it. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I want to see what you guys got to say about this in the comment section down below. Do you think Asha made the right call? Do you think Xbox is doing the right thing? And do you feel like these layoffs were almost even necessary? I want to hear what you've got to say. And speaking about what you've got to say, here's the comment of the day from yesterday's video. With JDFVA saying this, it's ironic that Sony and PlayStation has become what they mocked 13 years ago. JD, my friend, you're absolutely right. And it's also pretty insane how we're watching Xbox probably even go back to the way things were, being a scrappy, wild, and insane set of developers and game companies that could truly bring out some awesome games. Hopefully Xbox can capitalize on what PlayStation is fucking up on. And if they do, baby, we're going to see a real set of console wars happening pretty soon. And I think that's something everybody wants to see. But as always, if you guys want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even live streams, subscribe to the channel. If you want Discord access or emotes during those live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. Look, if you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with text-to-speech. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, live, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. Do you want even more of me, though? Check out Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Link to that channel is in the description down below. I put a new video out today. If you haven't caught it already, please do so. It's about how Mecha Chameleon destroyed the gaming industry, and also we live stream there every single day from around 10:30 a.m. to around 2 p.m. streaming video games and hanging out with you guys, the best community on YouTube. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Oh No, It's Alex Gaming. Come on down to the stream, check out the video, and I'll help get you through your workday. With all that being said, though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!